Venezuela used to be the richest country in Latin America, but now it's falling apart. If you've turned on the news lately, you've probably seen stories about protests, food shortages, and massive inflation. So how did Venezuela go from this to this? Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, and oil exports make up over 95% of the country's income. Meaning, if it doesn't sell oil, there's no money to spend. On top of that, Venezuela hasn't been taking good care of its oil facilities, and the state-run oil company hasn't paid its subsidiaries. So these companies started producing less oil, a lot less. The oil price has also plummeted, which leads us to the next problem: how Venezuela uses its money. Protesters claim Nicolas Maduro and his predecessor Hugo Chavez ran the country to the ground. In 1998, Chavez launched a political revolution with a new constitution and socialist economic and social policies, all boosted by high oil prices. He started redistributing land and wealth. He nationalized oil, finance, agricultural and industrial companies. He fixed prices and devalued the exchange rate with the US dollar. These policies helped a lot of people, but with less money coming in, the system collapsed by the time Maduro took over. Now the country's down to its last $10 billion, of which $7.7 billion are in gold and can't be spent in a hurry. And it owes roughly $7.2 billion in outstanding debt this year. Because of all this, the country's currency, the bolivar, has lost 99% of its value in the past 5 years. So for example, $100 of currency in 2012 would be worth just 20 cents in 2017. Inflation reached an all-time high with 800% in December 2016, and the IMF estimates it will go up all the way to 1,134%. Let me visualize that. That means that liter of milk that may have cost $1 before could end up costing roughly $11 by the end of this year. In a country where 80% of people live in poverty, that's just not affordable. And it makes things especially hard if you're a country that gets most of its food from abroad. Food and supplies have become so scarce as a result of inflation and price controls, they're being sold on the black market instead of in stores. With a large part of the country on the brink of starvation, food trafficking has become the biggest business in Venezuela. So Maduro put the military in charge of managing the country's food supply. But an AP investigation found that the military runs its own black markets and takes bribes from food importers. To be fair, there were shortages under Chavez too, but under Maduro, they became even greater. So great, in fact, that 3/4 of Venezuela's adult population lost an average of 8.7 kilos in the past year. People also have trouble getting their hands on life-saving medical supplies. The country is lacking roughly 80% of basic medical supplies, leading to drastic consequences. Venezuela is in the middle of a vicious cycle of bad policies and worse luck. It's been at the top of the World Misery Index for 3 consecutive years. So then, why is Maduro still in power? Venezuela's poorest haven't taken to the streets so far. They're afraid to lose some of the benefits they gained under Chavez. And Maduro's support base goes beyond just the poor. He has the military on his side because he's been keeping them happy by providing jobs, food, and basic supplies. Empowered by the support, he's been accusing the opposition of encouraging violence and training children for terrorist groups, which is what he likes to call the protesters. Now, he wants to create a popular assembly that can rewrite the constitution, and he declared a state of emergency. The opposition is afraid the assembly will be entirely made up of pro-Maduro parties, so they're calling for new elections and Maduro's resignation. Since April 1st, 2017, 67 people have died in the protests. Hundreds have been injured and thousands arrested. Mediating the standoff will be a tough mission, even for the Pope.